Everybody for coming out to media today. We're excited about the start of the season, and we're honored to be representing the Jazz and this community, and we look forward to a good training camp. So with that, fire away.
Dennis, how does this feel different this year than it was last year at this time?
Well, there's always new faces, right? Every, save a few exceptions around the league, every iteration of your team is a little bit different. And even a role player can change the team dynamics on how you play and the locker room itself. And clearly we made significant change to the roster. We doubled down on the youth movement, if you will. And so we have to grow a lot of young players up simultaneous, but we look forward to the challenge.
Dennis, how do you get players to go from good to great in this league?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wish we could quantify that, capture it, and reproduce it on a case-by-case basis. And you guys have heard the quote before, players are like water, they always find their level. And there's always an individual improvement aspect. Hopefully we can couple it inside of a team concept. But I can't stand here today and tell you which players will develop and which won't, but we'll make sure to put all of our time and energy and resources into each player, and in time we think that will make a good team.
Dennis, you put a lot of emphasis on this young team, specifically Gordon and Derek. What are you hoping to see from them and these other players as they progress, 3-4 seasons later?
Yeah. So continued maturity. I think clearly with Derek and Gordon, there are two core pieces with what we did with both of them contractually in different ways, but the commitment that the Millers made. So we expect them to lead the group, pull the group in the right direction. It can be in much different ways. It can be vocally, it could be just with their day-to-day habits and professionalism, but we really believe in both young men as people, and we think they'll move forward as players because of that.
Should Gordon have heightened expectations because of this deal?
Say that again?
Expectations because of this deal?
So I think Gordon addressed it a little bit this summer. I think a couple of his comments got taken out of context on does he feel differently because of the contract. And I think the message that Gordon was trying to say is I always feel accountable to producing and trying to find wins and being part of a winning club. So I think if you're in the business of basketball and you're a competitor, you're going to find the right reasons why to compete. And usually those guys, if they're doing it for a dollar sign, they're in it for the wrong reasons. So we're very confident in Gordon and who he is and how he believes and what he works on, and I think he'll move forward. If that's the question, his game will move forward and improve.
From a development standpoint, did Trey Burke have a good year last year?
Did Trey Burke have a good year? So I think clearly we've talked about this a bunch. The summer league happened, right? And then the quick injury, and none of us knew what to expect. There really wasn't an early baseline because he broke his finger. I was surprised that he came out of the gate as quick as he came out of the gate. I think his ball security, natural inclination to make the right pass. I think he's underrated as a point guard. I think there were some strides late in the season defensively. I don't think Trey totally knew what he was getting into in the league as a 20/21-year-old last year, and getting hit 70 times a game on pick and rolls is something new, but it's something that all point guards have to go through, and he was able to survive that and play every game. So yeah, I think he did move forward in several areas.
What is the organization's reaction to the photos of Trey that came out?
Yes, so we were made of the situation this morning. We've collected a lot of the facts. We still have a few things to collect and a couple people to visit with. It's safe to say, and Trey will address this, he addressed our basketball operations, his teammates a few hours ago. It's safe to say that we are disappointed in what we've learned so far. but we're going to move forward, and really at this point in time we're just collecting facts, and then we're going to reserve some final judgment for a later date.
Is there any question about his leadership?
Question about
Trey's leadership through this situation, or?
So, yeah, to couple both, I think would be a little much at this point in time. We still have a few more facts to find and some more research to do. So, I think I understand the timing of the question. It's certainly relevant, but we'll hold off and commenting on that for right now.
And I asked because it seemed like leadership was something that he clearly brought to Summer League, and he talked at Summer League about wanting to be a leader of this team this year.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, really. Alec Burks had presence here with Summer League training camp. Derek Favors was in Summer League training camp and went to Vegas to support his teammates. Trey clearly was here and played, so presence leads, if you're working hard and working the right way, leads to some accountability and moving the group in the right direction. So from that standpoint, he did fine this summer, and the leadership leaders find their level, and certainly Quinn's going to need to find a couple player voices that are supportive in the directions we want to move the team, and potentially Trey's one of them. Is this a setback? We'll determine that as we go forward.
Dennis, in that sense, did you remove some of the safety nets from this roster with veteran leadership to make sure these younger guys do step up as leaders?
Yeah, interesting question. So I'm not sure how to totally answer that question at this point in time, but it's safe to say as Derek is now 23, he's been with the organization going on 3 years now, we expect that he's going to lead, and you saw a commitment to the Salt Lake City community, to some personal endeavors of his, charitable. There was his presence during Summer League training camp, open gym, the actual Summer League team. So we've been very, very pleased with that. So did some veterans move on, and will some young guys need to replace the veteran voice? Absolutely. Who will take that place? Gordon, Derek, some other guys we'll see in time, but certainly Derek and Gordon have had very good summers and to fill that void.
Do you see any of the newcomers, either via the trades or free agency acquisitions, that will make an impact? Or
I think that can happen. Yeah, I think that can happen. I think Trevor Booker has already, again, he's established residency here. He's been a very hard worker during our open gym period. I think Steve Novak, as being one of our more experienced guys, who's got great intellect, very good humor, will add some leadership and some, when I say this, some good character and personality to the locker room. So I would hope that would take place. You can't force that. I can't say, hey, Steve, do this in the locker room. The locker rooms kind of form on themselves, but certainly, again, Quinn needs some support in those areas.
On the floor, how different do you think Quinn's system will be from Jazz basketball of yore?
So, yeah, I'd rather stay away from the compliment and on what we've already seen with Quinn, if you will, and it be a backhanded compliment to things we've done in the past. Look, there's some things that are universal Jazz basketball: tough, serious, unselfish, and so we'll want to keep those foundational pieces. Will some of the strategy and techniques look differently? Absolutely, but some of the same principles hold true as far as playing with the pass and giving a great effort night in, night out.
I know you can't discuss negotiations